Hello, Turul Winery. Today we're going to discuss the strategy implementation of our winery. I know we have gone through many changes recently, but this is the next step in our journey to ensure continued growth for our brand. So now we want to look at what a successful strategy implementation will be. It is important that we understand these key characteristics because this is what defines our growth within the company. So, in order to have a successful strategy implementation, you must be organized. We must be able to plan meticulously on what we want to do. We must be able to utilize our resources effectively, as well as communicating. It is key for us to communicate from top to bottom, left to right, because if we're unable to communicate, there will be a miss, as well as monitoring. And then lastly, we need to follow up. There's always to close that gap. We must follow up on anything that we put into place. Now we're going to go over what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about our strategic goals and objectives, expansion and target markets, strategy map, Turul balance scorecard, strategic initiatives, key performance indicators, better known as KPIs, system resources and accountability, our overall timeline to get this completed, as well as phase one of our action plans. All right, next we're going to go into our strategic goal and objectives. Overall, setting goals and objectives for a company is important as it will help give us direction. Strategic goals are the tangible goals that a company looks to achieve within the next 3 to 5 years. These goals and objectives need to be SMART, which means specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. This will help us understand our profits or losses associated with actions taking place throughout our expansion. So overall, our goal is to create and launch two new products in the ultra premium wine market by 2027. Our objectives will be to introduce a bourbon Cabernet Sauvignon product by increasing overall business revenue by 5% within the next 5 years, capture 10% market share by 2027 in the ultra premium wine market, as well as reduce employee turnover by 10% while increasing recruiting and retention by 20%. How we can do this. There are two different types of motivators that can help support superior performance in reaching our goals and objectives. They are intrinsic and extrinsic motivators. Intrinsic motivators are when someone does something for the personal satisfaction. Strategists use this information to help ease how people think. If there is no fear of punishment, it can help drive a new thought process, which is what we want. We want innovation. People will feel as if they have a choice in what they engage in and not feel as if there's a requirement to achieve a particular goal. Extrinsic motivators are when someone performs a task because of the possibility of a reward or negative consequence. This type of motivation is how strategists can use to influence people. We want to mix both our intrinsic and extrinsic values in order to drive innovation as well as a new thought process around how we do business. True Winery's strategic intent is to expand our wine options domestically. This will be achieved by introducing a new wine variety that will infuse our own Suprema Cabernet Sauvignon with bourbon oak barrel. Offering this will open up our market to gain the higher spend wine drinkers. We will target this by a marketing strategy. Target market strategy is a plan that businesses have that will focus on growing sales within a particular customer group. The customer persona that you see here is for our domestic market, would be a millennial that has disposable income. Turul Winery will target this expansion to the West, South, and Midwest areas of the U.S. to capture the bourbon drinker's interest as an alternative. This persona will be someone who enjoys wine alternatives while watching sports. Next, we will talk about the strategy map of our business expansion. Okay, I know there's a lot on this slide, but let me call out what this exactly is. So this is a strategy map. It describes how Turul will create value by linking strategic objectives in a cause and effect relationship. It also includes the balance scorecard, metrics, targets, and our strategic initiatives. In the next few slides, I will break out the individual components to help explain in detail a little more. Next, we discuss the balance scorecard. So, just to give you a better understanding of what the balance scorecard is, it is defined as a management support to translate an organization's strategic goals into set objectives. This can be divided into four quadrants. Financials, how do we look to the shareholders? Customer, how do the customers see us? Internal processes, what must we excel at? As well as learning and growth. How do we continue to improve and create value? These are the questions that we must ask ourselves when we look at our balance scorecard. So as you can see, when we look at our finances, we have defined that we wanted to create and launch 2 new products. The company has to be able to determine how we're going to do that, whether we're going to how we're going to increase our revenue, profitability, and overall decreasing our operating cost. Next, we look at our customer quadrant. We want to improve our quality, improve market perception, as well as improve our sustainability. When we look at our internal processes, improving asset capacity, identifying new products, as well as developing relationships with our customers. And last, learning and growth. We must improve our overall knowledge and skills, develop recruiting and retention programs, and then reduce our overall turnover. Next, we look at our strategic initiatives. Strategic initiatives are the means in which our organization will translate our goals and visions into our practice. When we look at our strategy map, we take out the balance scorecard and say, hey, this is what we see. How do we get there? So our initiatives for our financial quadrant is that we must price our product competitively, and then we must have an in-house pricing strategy. For our customers, we must improve our environmental impact. Because we are now partnering with another distributor, there's going to be some transportation costs associated with it. We must understand our environmental impact because of that, as well as conduct market studies for our new product. Within our internal processes, we must expand our wine club expansion, as well as partner with other bourbon brands. When we look at our learning and growth, we must create a robust recruiting and retention program, as well as training program, and then overall standing up our HR department, which we recently have done. Okay, next is our key performance indicators, also known as KPIs. KPIs make a difference between successful strategy implementation and failures. It's important for us to devise strategies and measure their performance when we're setting our goals. What you see on this slide is a key performance indicator tree. It's going to help us measure the success of our completion of our strategic goals and objectives. So let's take a look. Right now we have our new product, Bourbon Cabernet Sauvignon. That is what we would like to do. We're going to follow this up the top of the tree. We want to launch a campaign, and within that campaign, we have promotional tactics and website traffic. And with that, we want to measure how often our consumers actually will open their email as well as clicking through our advertisements. Within our website traffic, we want to understand how many people are actually coming to view our page, and that will tell us our overall website traffic. So these are just a few of our KPIs within our new product launch that we will be looking for. All right, let's get into the nitty gritty of it all. So for this slide, I will need a leader from each department to head up the strategic initiative. So for the financial aspect, from the finance department, we will need roughly $1.5 million to launch the bourbon Cabernet Sauvignon. In addition, the sales manager, I'll need you to work on the promotions, which we've allotted $100,000 for you. Public relations, we've allotted $100,000 for you as well. Now I turn my attention to the vineyard department. Labor, we have roughly 45 full-time and 38 seasonal workers, and we pay them $17.22 an hour. That's roughly $60,000 annually. So that's how much we've allotted for labor. Within our capital assets, we have an exclusive vineyard, which is our Ranch de Sol. We'll transition this to be exclusive to our new product. This vineyard is roughly 157 acres with an average cost of $4,000 annually per acre for our vehicles, machinery, and equipment. So therefore, we've allotted $630,000 for this expenditure. The time that we will need, this will look over annually as well as utilizing our night harvest process. As far as our supplies is concerned, this will go towards our back office manager. We'll need roughly $300,000 set aside for these supplies. Those supplies will be our bourbon barrels, wine bottles, corks, and labels. In addition, I'm allotting money to our HR department for training, hiring, and retention programs of $200,000. In total, again, that is roughly $1.5 million. Next, we'll take a look at our timeline. There are key steps that we must complete in order to achieve our goals. Outlining our timeline will help guide us as we look to launch our product. This is a Gantt chart example of a potential timeline that we can use. A Gantt chart is a project management tool that outlines key steps, progress made against time. Outlined in the timeline are key milestones and action steps that we must complete. We have already completed our kickoff meeting where we aligned on our new objectives. Next up will be our developmental stage, where we will look to better understand our new product. After this is our marketing and promotion stage, where we will develop and disseminate all promotional material. Lastly is our operation stage. This will run concurrently with our developmental and marketing stages, as our vineyard harvest time is still August through October of every year. A key milestone is for us to come back together and view our launch and understand internal and external feedback from our teams and consumers. All right, now we go into our action plans. Phase one is very important. We must conduct market analysis. This is important because we need to understand the bourbon wine market. In addition, we must understand the financial impact to our current vineyard and process by taking away one vineyard for exclusivity to our bourbon venture. Conducting this market research will help identify new opportunities and needs for us, as well as give us additional data that we may have missed. Next, we need to understand the bourbon wine development. We need to acquire a partnership with a bourbon distillery to acquire our barrels. We need to additional harvest and produce small batches for R&D to determine our BLIC. It is important for us to taste our product to verify our BLIC, which is our balance, length, intensity, and complexity of our wine. Our head winemaker will approve the wine based off of that. In addition, we will do a soft launch in our tasting room. We need to create pamphlets for our community and our buyers, send marketing materials out to those people, and then hold a soft launch within our tasting room to those that we've invited to gain their feedback prior to we actually going to our national launch.